Right, here we are. We are here, and my talk is all about a great awakening. So let's get going. There it is. Whoops, no, not yet. A great, glorious, and grand awakening, because that's what we are here to do, and not just on this day. So, as I said earlier, see, I'm one ahead of myself. No, come on now. I'm giving it away. I want to go backward. There it is. No. How come I'm going the wrong direction? Because I'm... No, No. We can't do that. No, not yet. I'm all in the wrong direction here. Help me, Mr. Wizard.
Oh, my goodness.
The end. Thank you for coming.
Pass the basket.
Okay, I need to be back at the beginning of my slideshow, which says a great and glorious, well, whatever. So before we get there, someone's going to get, that's not it. That's not it. Okay, we seem to be going forward, and I want to go backwards. There it is. Except that's not it either. That's, what the hell? Am I at the beginning again? I am. Okay, so get me that first slide, and then I promise not to mess around anymore. I'm really not trying to mess around. There it is. Hey, it's a great, glorious, and grand awakening. But first, okay, I just want to make sure that we treat this lightly. Why did the Easter Bunny hide the eggs?
Why?
Because he was too embarrassed to admit a chicken did all the work.
Okay.
What happens if you tell an egg a joke?
What?
It cracks up. What do you call a bunny with fleas? Bugs Bunny. Easter is the only time of year that it's perfectly acceptable to put all your eggs in one basket and then lose it in the backyard. And do we have any kids in here? Because this one's a little racy. Why doesn't the Easter Bunny make noise when he hops? Because he has cotton balls. Okay, that's it. Morning has broken like the first morning. Do you all remember that song? You know, it's an old hymn, but some of us remember when Cat Stevens released it, recorded it. It was just a beautiful, beautiful version, like the first morning. This morning, I was awakened like the first morning. It happens many mornings, and it's a thing called the dawn chorus. If you've never had that experience, it's when one bird senses the first rays of sunlight, starts to announce the dawn of a new day, and one by one, the other birds begin to join in the singing. Within a very short time, as the light grows and the sun rises, more and more birds, and apparently a T-Rex and a frog, are part of this wonderful grand cacophony of nature. It's called the dawn chorus, and it never ceases to awaken in me a deep knowing of the miraculous. A deep knowing and feeling. It is a great and grand awakening. And today, in particular, I am blessed to have been a witness to the birth of another day. So Easter Sunday is a day of light after the darkness, an emergence from the symbolic tomb of sacred unknowing and sacred growing. And what I want to suggest for all of us is that today is a reframing of what it means to emerge from that dark tomb, from that cave of unknowing, and to be surrounded as we emerge and filled with the light that comes with the birth of the Christ consciousness. It is the consciousness of awareness. It is the Buddha consciousness of awareness. It is all of that. So if Christ is something that doesn't work for you, then go to another word or icon that symbolizes a light. Because here's the thing, there were many Christs when Jesus the teacher, Yeshua ben Joseph, was part of the circle, the cycle of humanity. There were many Christs because that means awakened. It means anointed. And within all of us is that already awakened and anointed place, that light. But for many of us, we have not yet awakened to it because we are so convicted of the conditions. We are so convicted and so convinced and so dedicated to the appearances of life around us that we judge ourselves and everything else according to appearances, according to the world, according to the emotional, spiritual, often physical darkness that is in the world. But when we talk about the Christ consciousness, we mean the rising into and actually living from and as the divine spiritual realms. We call them qualities of God, of love, substance, intelligence, and wholeness. In other words, as the light dawns within, we wake up from the sleep of limitation and our stories, the dreams of limitation, the sleep that our stories will induce us into. We awaken from the seduction of separation, which is a separation from God. It is a separation from who we really, really are, because we tend to identify with this out here, all of the stuff in the world, and rather than be divined by God, we choose to be limited, informed, and dedicated by the appearances, right? We find ourselves being very, very much informed and identified by that. So, we are divine in nature and absolutely infinite in possibility. The world may not affirm that, but I tell you what, this is why we gather in spiritual community, because we will affirm it. Because the more we affirm it for you, the more we can affirm it for us. The more we affirm it for us, we can affirm it for you. And it is this glorious dance of co-creation, of collaboration, in which we all conspire to know a higher presence, a higher good, a higher idea. That is the conspiracy for good. There is a conspiracy for good in this presence, and we are here. We are here because this divine power and presence has been trying to get our attention. It's been trying to say, wake up, wake up, wake up. You are absolutely divine in nature, absolutely infinite in possibility. God is all there is, and you are included in that. That is the conspiracy for us to know it. And so this day, this Easter Sunday, stands for the individual and collective choice. Choice to shift from being pushed by fear into being pulled by vision. Amen, indeed. We are so pushed by fear. We think, oh, there must be something better. There has to be something better. And we are clenched by it, right? We are clenched. I'm not going to talk about sphincters. Okay, we are clenched. Listen, it gets even worse as I go on, trust me. I don't know what I was doing I know exactly what I was doing when I wrote this talk, but rather than have that tightness, which is fear, we are pulled by a vision. And that vision is the truth of who we are. It's not something outside of ourselves. It is not something out there. It is this which resonates here and with other beings. We are at a sacred and mystical nexus right now. 3 powerful wisdom traditions. Muslims around the world recently completed celebrating Ramadan. And then we have Easter, the Jesus-y Easter and the non-Jesus-y Easter, and Passover. So metaphysically, Passover symbolizes the bridging over from an old way of thinking and believing into a new and divinely informed awareness. And as I said before, we can be designed by what's out here, or we can be divined by what's in here. So Passover takes us from darkness to light. It takes us from being enslaved to being completely liberated. that we are free. And most of us go through a Passover daily, whether we are of the tribe of Israel or not. There is that Passover that must happen, where we choose to move from that darkness, that stuff that's in the world, that stuff that's on the news, and move into a powerful knowing that we are here as beings inspired to change humanity. So there is a philosophical and scientific concept that says when critical mass is achieved, the shift of humanity begins to take place. Critical mass. Now, this is interesting. I was studying more about it this morning. Critical mass is believed to be 10% of a population. However, when it's peaceful, nonviolent demonstration, do you know that it's just over 3% that's required to make that shift? Just over 3%. That is the critical mass. You and I are critical mass. We are absolutely here to be that critical mass. And make no mistake, the shift is taking place, because when that critical mass is reached, the shift begins to happen in humanity. The shift is taking place. The shift absolutely is happening here and now throughout this entire universe. So before I go too deep, because I got more to say about this, I want to give you the results of some other research I did this week. Now, I had a question, and nobody seemed to be able to answer this question. And that question is, why a bunny? Why a bunny? Where does that idea of an Easter bunny even come from? What the? So now I love metaphysical Bible interpretation. I spend a lot of time there. But I have to tell you, there is nowhere in the Bible that mentions a mythical hare that produces eggs for children in celebration of sacred resurrection. I have looked. I know about this stuff. I have been a minister for 16 years. I've been part of lay ministry for well over 20 years. I have looked, and even though nothing says he is risen, like a 6-foot bunny breaking into your house and leaving chocolate everywhere, even I can't make a connection that symbolizes the miracle of a sacred teacher rising from the dead by, hiding candy from children. I can't make that connection. However, the bunny, as a symbol of fertility, they are, rather prolific, you might know, stems from ancient pagan tradition. The festival of Estra honored the goddess of fertility in spring. The goddess's animal symbol was a rabbit, long associated with fertility due to its high reproductive rate. They like to socialize. They're very social. As for how the character of the Easter Bunny made its way to America, History.com reports that in the 1700s, German immigrants who came to Pennsylvania reportedly brought over their tradition of an egg-laying hare named Osterhaus. An egg-laying hare, okay. Those wacky Germans from the old country. Legend has it that the rabbit would lay colorful eggs as gifts to children who were good. Kids would make nests in which the bunny could leave his eggs, and even sometimes set out carrots in case he got hungry. Remind you of any other holiday traditions? If you're good and you leave out some... Anyway. So this custom spread across America until it became a widespread Easter tradition, and now we honor it. The fabled bunny's delivery has expanded from just eggs to include other magical treats such as chocolate, toys, Sony PlayStations, Squishmallows, and Labubu dolls. If you don't know what that is, ask your grandkids. Labubu dolls. I just like saying Labubu. So that's right, folks. Here at NHCRS, we aim to inspire, entertain, educate. But for now, back to our regularly scheduled broadcast. So I think I was talking about the evidence, the studies all about critical mass. Because when critical mass is achieved, humanity begins to shift. So we are that critical mass. And as I said, make no mistake, we are shifting. We are shifting here and now. Now, there is a profound discomfort that happens, and that most of it's experienced when shift takes place. And indeed, it does feel like, and I've got to say it because my brother Skip here has said it as well, the shift is hitting the fan. Everything is in flux. It's all, fluxed up. And it feels really, really unsteady and unstable. And even though it also feels like every single train is off every single track, it's scary and unpredictable. We were made for these times. We were made for these times. Make no mistake, we were made for these times. We have been brought here. We have gone through a lot. Don't you all feel like you've gone through a lot? Yeah, you were made for this. You were made for this. I want you to consider that thing that we call a tomb is not a place of death and burial. It is a place of gestation, of growth, of reforming. And actually, I just want to interrupt for a minute. Doreen, if you want to move from this screen to the there you go. So that symbolic tomb is the chrysalis for you and me. It is the cocoon. I talked about this the other night at our Good Friday service. We are indeed like caterpillars. We have to go through that same liquefaction process that a caterpillar does. We turn to the goo, that liquid in which, what the heck is this? I don't know what's going to happen. What will I look like after this process? I'm in this darkness. What will happen next? Because we don't know. So this caterpillar turns into something completely unrecognizable, and it is so fluid. And it is in this cocoon that a new body is formed and transfiguration occurs. It is transfiguration. What we thought was death is a reforming, a transfiguration. It's a birth. It is a birth. Because when we realize that this tomb is a temporary holding place, it suddenly begins to make sense. It's not a tomb, it's a womb. We are in the womb. And that is the purpose. We have Good Friday, Holy Friday, where we feel like so much of our lives, personally, professionally, societally, we feel like we're being crucified. Many of us feel like, or you might find it on a daily basis, maybe with your health, with your finances, with your family. So that is such a strong metaphor, that representation of that crucifixion. And so we come off of that cross, and then we go into Saturday. Saturday is the darkness day. Saturday is in the tomb. And it is in that tomb that the transformation occurs, and it moves from tomb to womb, from death to birth, from death to life. It is in that in which life, in all of its fluidity, shines and comes forth in a way that is not possible without going into the darkness. Now, I know we've all spent a lot of time in the darkness. And here's the thing about a womb. Eventually, the baby's got to be born. 70-year-old babies do not exist. 80-year-old, 90-year-old still in the womb, not going to happen. So that baby must be born. We can live in the paralysis of fear and become fossilized, tight versions of what was. And I know that we want to in many ways because it feels safer to think about what happened before the cross or even during the cross, during that crucifixion period. But we can't stay there because we could live as fossils, but the choice that we have is to live into a vision of the world that our hearts are demanding that we create and sustain for our children, our grandchildren, their children, and indeed, even nature itself. So we can be paralyzed by fear, or we can be energized by this life that is seeking to flow through us. Now, in our New Thought teachings, we look at Jesus the Christ, Yeshua ben Joseph, as our teacher, our spiritual elder brother, and a great example, the great example, not exception, example of who and what we become when we embrace our oneness with God, with spirit, with soul, and with each other. It is that awakened mind. It is that anointed soul. It is that great, grand, glorious awakening So this guy, Jesus, was inspired to change humanity. He knew, he taught, and he exemplified what life lived in the practiced and disciplined knowing of wholeness and peace could look like. Now, he's not the only one, because we have had many such beings who were inspired to change humanity. Buddha, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Baha'u'llah, Anwar Sadat, Jimmy Carter, Martin Luther King Jr., W.E.B. Du Bois, Harriet Tubman, you, me. We are here as beings inspired to change humanity. This is where I go back to the screen, Doreen. So I want you to think about this. Let's take a look at that. A being inspired to change humanity. Notice anything? Not a frightened bunny, not a little fluff ball delivering colored chocolates and eggs, but a being inspired to change humanity. The Christ consciousness is awakening within us. It is awakening within us to greater and greater degrees every single day, every moment. And it is not weak, it is not trembling, it is not fearful, it does not serve the ego or conditions. The Christ consciousness serves love. It serves peace. This consciousness, this Buddha consciousness, this Awaken, this Mother Teresa consciousness, this Baha'i consciousness, whatever that is for you, it is the most true thing about each and every one of us. And it is awakening with us, and it is incumbent upon us to awaken to it, to choose to be participants in the awakening. Because as we do it here, then we begin to see it out there. And we cannot awaken here without change happening there. If we choose to awaken out there first, it's not going to happen. It'll be temporary at best. We must own it, engage it, and cultivate it here. And so the call is to go forth this day and to be beings inspired to change humanity. I want you to turn to the people next to you and say, you are a being inspired to change humanity. You are a being inspired to change humanity. Turn to someone else. You are a being inspired to change humanity. You are a being inspired to change humanity. We do this free from ego, free from conditions, free from fighter jets. The question isn't who would Jesus bomb. The question isn't who would Jesus kill or imprison. The question is, how am I to be that presence here and now for all humanity? The question is, who am I to liberate, starting with myself? The question is, who am I to free? Who am I to bring peace to? Who am I? Who am I? Not what would Jesus do, but what will I do? What will I do? What is my inspired guidance? What is my inspired action? Because action without inspiration is merely a reaction. Yet if we go within first, and you know what we've always learned here, if you don't go within, then you will go without. We go within first so that we may know and that we may awaken first here and to hold that and to embrace that and to grow that. Because that's what we do. Now, I'm not saying don't pay attention to the world. I'm not saying that. If you really want to, do it. I have to because this is my job, and I've kind of got to, keep track of things so that I can be of service to you and to the planet. I do this, but I give you permission to turn off that TV. I give you permission to turn away to turn that other cheek, right? To turn this way towards the light, towards the peace, towards the awakening, that grand and glorious and great awakening. I give you full permission, if you need it, to turn within and to become who you are meant to be, who you've been born to be, because you are made for this time. We are made for this time. You are a being inspired to change humanity. And so I want to tell you, we've got this. There is that within us which has this, which has got this. God in and as us has got this. It's got this. He, she, it has got this. We are beings inspired to change humanity. God has our backs. I believe this. I absolutely know that. And Spirit is right here and right now saying, wake up! And so it is. Let's pray. Thank you. Thank you. We are beings inspired to change humanity because we know that we come from an infinite, limitless source. That power and that presence which we recognize to be all that is. And it includes us. That we are one of and one with it. And we demand to know ourselves as that. We declare that we know ourselves as that. And as we do that, we demand and we see from within the very depths of our hearts and our souls that everyone else is as well a sacred, holy creation of God. A sacred, holy creation of Spirit. That we are here as the love. We are here as the power and the presence. We are here as the joy. And for nothing less than a great, grand, glorious awakening into the truth of who and what we are. It has never been denied. We cannot deny it. And there is no one and nothing out there that can stand in the way of the truth of who we are, because there is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect, and that life is our life now. You cannot stand in the way of it. I cannot stand in the way of it. Nothing and no one can be a block for you so that you do not experience your resurrection, your transfiguration, your birth this day. This month of renewal, this April month of renewal, as we begin to know ourselves every moment of every day as Spirit knows us. That God is all there is, and that includes us. And so I include this church. I include everybody in this church. I include all churches, all mosques, temples, synagogues, cathedrals, all churches everywhere, all centers, wherever two people or more, wherever one person gathers to unify with the light, with the truth of their being. I know that love emerges. That the stone is rolled away from our hearts and we move into beyond resurrection. This is renewal. This is refiring, relighting. We are alive with the light and the love and the power and the presence of God. And we know this to be so for ours and all others. And so this source and this substance is filling each and every one of us now with all that is needed. This entire planet, all that is needed. And we listen because that is our one responsibility, to listen. So we do so willingly, eagerly, with joy, with anticipation, with a sense of humor. We invoke our humor because God knows we need it. And so we say yes to the laughter of the spheres, the laughter of the hills, of the mountains, because we indeed are beings inspired to change humanity. So with a full and grateful heart, I release this word into the law of mind, knowing it is already so. Indeed, what we have done is simply recognize the truth that is always in that is place. It is simply is, here and now, here and now, here and now, here and now, because there is no other moment but this one, and all the power in the universe is present right here, right now, in us, as us, because this is the truth. I know it. I know that I know it. God knows it. And now we know that we all know it. And so it is. And together we say, Amen.